Hey guys, today we're going to be making this awesome text animation in DaVinci Resolve Fusion. Can you guess how I'm doing it? If you think in Displace Node, you're wrong. Stick around and find out how we're making this wavy text animation. Actually, there's really a lot of different things we can do with it. Changing up some settings and parameters, we can get animations like this, or even something like this. Really, really cool, and it's not that hard to do. Okay, it's been a little bit since I made some videos, but I got a lot of stuff planned. I have a whole bunch of animations that I'm looking at doing, as well as some really, really amazing updates to my SPARKFX tools. Be on the lookout for it. You're really not gonna want to miss it. And as always, if you like my videos, make sure you like, subscribe, and comment below, ask questions, and let's start doing some animations. We're gonna dive into Fusion, and we're gonna create this wavy text animation, and I'm gonna show you how I did it. A few little tricks, and maybe you'll learn something. We have a blank Fusion composition. Let's get started. We're going to take a text node and move it in. The first step here is to set up our text. We're just going to have two text nodes and they're going to sit right on top of each other. Let's put text one in the viewer. That's text. Let's move it up a bit. We're going to adjust this in just a second. Copy it with Control C, click in the node area and hit Control Shift V. There we go. We have two text nodes. We're going to take the text instance and paste it right on top of this one. So because these are instances, they're exactly the same, which is really helpful. So now we're going to take the merge node where the second instance is going in as the foreground, and we're just going to drag that down. Let's put the merge node in the viewer, hit a 2 on it. All right, so there's our two text nodes. We got this one right here and this one. So let's go ahead and set up the actual text itself. So let's go in the inspector and we're going to type in, we call it resolve. And we can move this one down a little bit. Let's make it bigger. And they're overlapping, but that's okay. Let's adjust our font. So this looks really good for fonts that are a little bit more condensed and kind of taller. I like that look. I'm going to click the layout tab and move it up a little bit and go to the merge node and move that one down. You just want a little bit of a gap between them. Let's see. Yeah, that's pretty good. We're going to move the first one up. Now you'll notice one thing here is the L and the V kind of overlap, and to get the animation we want, we don't want them overlapping. That's going to mess it up. So let's go to either one of the text nodes and adjust the tracking, space it out so that the L and the V are not going to be overlapping. Click color, and we're going to choose a nice green. Looks good right there. And we want the bottom one to be blue. So instead of de-instancing all the color, a trick you can do is we're going to bring in a background node, set the color to blue, and we're going to take the text and put it into the mask input of the background node. And then we'll put that into the merge. And so that's how we have some colored text right there. And let's take this and bring it into the media out. Now we're going to add a texture onto the text. And to do this, we're going to use the shape system and a little bit of fast noise to create that pattern. Control space and search for sRender. And we'll add that in there. And I'm going to take this, okay, and let's put that in there. Now, so this is really not going to make much of a pattern. So what we're going to do is we're going to take it and make a little bitty dot out of it. To do this, click the render node, uncheck auto resolution, and we're going to set the pattern size, the width to 9, height to 9. And that's going to create this little bitty dot for us. I don't know if you can see it right there. Little bitty dot. And we're going to take this dot and we're going to merge it on top of a fast noise. So let's take a fast noise and drag it into the node area. Move this stuff around just a little bit. And take the output of sRender and merge it on top of the fast noise and put that in the viewer. So there it is. That's our pattern. Not much of a pattern, but it is a start. Then we're going to go to edges and choose wrap. And there's our dots. Now, what we want with this is we want the dot to only show up kind of where the fast noise is. So we're going to use the fast noise to create some texture to our pattern. So with merge to selected, for the operator, choose in. So these dots are being merged on top of the fast noise, but you're only going to see the dot where the fast noise pattern is. So let's go to the fast noise and we can adjust the detail a little bit, definitely adjust the contrast and the scale. So now we kind of got a nice dot pattern, and we can click the ellipse. If you want to adjust the pattern, we can adjust the dot size right there. Okay, so how do we get this to apply to our text? All we need to do is take the output of our text and we're going to put it right into this fast noise here. And there we go. We got the dots right where the text is. And let's merge this on top right there. So we got our white dots on there, but I was going to do something a little bit different. So we're going to get rid of this fast noise and I'm going to put a color corrector here. So that's this node right here. We're going to drag it in, hold shift, and that line changes colors. It's going to connect it up, put it right there. We're gonna take the output of our dots and put it into the mask input of the color corrector. Let's put that in the viewer. Now we can even do things like we can set the color of our dots, or we can take the gain and we can bring the dots down. So we got some dark dots, or we could move it up and have light dots. But I kind of like them dark. And I'm gonna make my dot a little bit bigger. Now the next thing is I had a kind of a border around here where there was no dots. It kind of gives it a nice clean look around the outside. And to do that, we're gonna hit Control Space and search for erode dilate. And we're gonna drag this with Shift and put it right on that line there. And basically what's going on here, let's go with two viewers. The erode dilate is in viewer 1 on the left, and the pattern is in viewer 2. I'm going to take this and we're just going to make it skinny. So basically we're shrinking our mask down and we get kind of a solid outline around where our dots are. Kind of a nice clean look there. That's the basic way we set up the text with a little bit of texture with the dots. Okay, next let's make the wave. To make the wave, we're not going to use a displace, we're using a grid warp, but we're going to do a really, really special trick with the grid warp that's going to make this whole thing work and be really, really easy to do. So let's drag all this stuff over and we're going to disconnect that guy and disconnect that guy because we're going to do something a little bit different here. And hit search Control Space and search for grid warp. And let's take the output of the text and put it into the grid warp. Okay, so this is where we're going to create our the warping text. So there's a source and a destination. The source is kind of your anchor points and the destination is where the warp is moving off of that anchor point. So we're going to set our anchor points with the source and we're going to set a grid size of 3 by 4. All right, so we have our grid warp and we have a source, which is 3 by 4 and a destination, which is 8 by 8. Okay, so really what does this mean? Let's take the source. You see right now, the source and destination look exactly the same. We're going to take the source. We're going to take these. We're going to hit selected. We're going to select these 3 points right there. We're going to move them over just a little bit. And we're going to select these 3 in this column and move those over a little bit. Well, that looks just the same, but now when we click destination, it changes. So basically the points have changed, the source in relation to the destination, and that's how you get some warping when there's differences there. So what we're going to do is now we're going to reset this. We're going to say copy source to destination. Okay, so now basically both the source and the destination have our 3 by 4 grid. X is 3, Y is 4. To get our warp, all we need to do is go to destination, and we're going to slide this guy up right here. And we're going to take this one and we're going to slide it down. And we kind of got a wave. It's that simple. Okay, there's our grid. Now, what we can do is we can actually take subdivisions and smooth it out. Got kind of a really nice curve there. Or we can take it and move it all the way down to 0, which is more of an angular look, which I think that's what I'm going to go with for this one. But you can really do whatever you want. And like from the intro of this video, you can set up all kinds of crazy animations using this exact same technique, using different grid sizes, different warps, all kinds of stuff. You see, when we move this here, it's animating the whole thing. And that's not what we want. We want the warp to run through our image. So how are we going to do that? Click here, and we're going to go to source. And the source has this thing right down here. We can do view destination and click that. And all of a sudden, we're not seeing the source grid. We're actually seeing the destination grid. And then you'll see when we do move the center, there we go. We have our warp going through the text, but the text is moving, and that's not what we want. We want the warp to move through the text, not the other way around. So to fix this, what we're going to do is we're going to go to the destination, and we're going to move the destination as we're moving our source. It's that simple. So let's click on source here, and you'll see that down in the lower right, lower left, it says grid warp 1.source center. That's this property right here. And all we have to do is make the source and destination center properties match. We're going to use an expression to do that. So right click on center expression, and we're going to type in grid warp 1.source center. Now, when we move that, it works perfectly, except when the text goes outside the grid, we lose it. Okay, so the next thing, to fix this, we're going to do, put down a background node here, drag the alpha to 0. I'm going to merge the text in and then the grid warp on top. So what we do is we have the text right here, followed by the grid warp on top of it. And we're just going to do a little bit of masking so that we only see the part that we want. Let's take a rectangle mask and we're going to move that into the grid warp. And let's make it the full size. We're going to set it the width of 1 and height of 1. click on the rectangle, and we're going to right click on the position, and we're just going to have it matched there. We're just going to have it match expression, and it's going to be grid warp, grid warp 1 dot source src center. And let's go to our grid warp, and it's not doing what we want. Well, that's because all we need to do is go to the merge and invert it so that we're showing the text outside of our mask. Now we go to grid warp, we'll move it over. You'll see that this is the text inside the grid warp, and this is actually coming from this one right here, which is outside of this mask. So we can take this whole warp and we can run it through whatever we want. Kind of jog it back and forth, do whatever we want. Let's take a look at the output. So we're going to take this and bring it into our color corrector and put the media out up. And there we go. Now you see that we've lost that little border thing that we had. So to get that back, we just need to take the output here and put it into our road dilate, and we got it back. And that's the basic setup. And we could animate this if we wanted to, kind of move it back and forth, do whatever we want. Now, the other thing that I did was there's this alternating pattern. And that's the last thing that we're going to do. We're going to take another grid warp, copy it, paste it. We're going to take the output of this text right here and put it into the grid warp. And all we need to do is reverse it. So let's go to destination in the grid warp. I'm going to pull the right side up, and let's pull the left side down. This is going the opposite direction of the other one. And we're going to merge this on top of our stuff. So we have the base text, that's the warp 1 and the warp 2. So they're all sitting on top of each other. Let's just do a little bit of masking. I'm going to create a rectangle mask and put it right there. And this is going to be for the R. I'm just going to make 3 more of these for the other letters. So we have the RSLE. And now, let's see, let's take this mask, these 4-letter masks, and we're going to put it into the second grid warp merge. Click that merge and invert it. Let's put it in the viewer. And there's our final. Now when we animate the warp, we have this one going up and down, and set the second warp, and we'll have that one going up and down. Okay, and that is the crazy grid warp animation. Now you know how to do it. You take the dot pattern, put it on the text, and we created the warp, and we moved it through the text by using the center property of the source and destination to have those match. So you can take any kind of warp and you can move it through an object to do all kinds of crazy stuff. If you go, you can all have all kinds of things that you can do where you change the warp up and to get different looks. So we could come in here and we could, destination, we could do, 6x6 in there, bump up the subdivisions, move this out here like that. And now when we move this through here, there we go, look at that. It's just following the warp patterns. Whatever you want to do, go for it. Okay, thanks so much for watching. I got a lot more animations like this, kind of a big list of things, and I'm kind of challenging myself to see if I can figure out how to do them. I'm not sure if I can do them all, but I'm going to see how many I can get done. Anyway, so thanks so much for watching again, and look forward to more videos, and comment below, let me know what you think, subscribe, and all that kind of good stuff. And I'll talk to you real soon with great updates, animations, and some really interesting stuff coming for SPARKFX. Thanks so much for watching.